From the book of Titus, chapter 3, verse 9 to 11. Let's read. But avoid foolish questions, and genealogies, and contentions, and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject, knowing that he that is such is subverted and sinneth, being condemned of himself. Now, what do these mean? You see, let's start with avoid foolish questions. For example, people will come to you and they'll talk about nonsense or ask you stupid questions like, hey man, I watched Ancient Aliens and they told me that Christ was an alien that came from Mars and from the Pleiadian stars, and then he flew over here and then he landed in Babylon and they beamed him down from his flying saucer, some nonsense like that, right? Avoid that. Don't even start interacting with these people. Send them a clown emoji and keep it moving, okay? And genealogies, all right? Christ already said to the Pharisees, if you remember, that if God so desired, he could raise up children of himself out of a bunch of stones, okay? Your genealogies, I don't care where you come from, what nation you say you come from, what tribe you say you come from, it doesn't matter. Because a Jew is one inwardly. You are a Jew if you are a lover. If you love. That's it. God doesn't care about your skin color, the way your hair appears, how long your toenails are, whether you're wearing your borders of blue and whatever else. He doesn't care. You see, men care about that because they are men pleasers, because they are after the praises of men. That is why they do these things and care about these things and talk about them. Because they know that men care about them, but God doesn't. 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 7. Man judges the outward appearance, the flesh, and God judges the heart. In other words, he judges the intent, the nature, the being. What is the skin color of being or of nature? What is its shape? Exactly. It doesn't have a shape. It doesn't have a skin color. It doesn't have a height or a depth. Do you see why it is foolish? And contentions, avoid contentions. And strivings about the law. Avoid contentions in general. What are contentions? Debates. Strife. You're not supposed to debate about the truth. Did you ever see Christ in the scriptures debating, running after people, trying to convince them? And even when he was talking to the Pharisees, he wasn't debating, he was just telling them the truth. And that's it. The scriptures tell you, if people don't receive you, dust off your feet and keep it moving. Christ wasn't like running after people, trying to convince them, hey man, don't you want to listen to me again? Like, I really have the truth for you. And no. If people reject the truth, if people want to believe nonsense, let them believe nonsense. The blind be leaders of the blind. They both shall fall into the ditch, and that's it. Avoid strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. Vain means empty or profitless, pointless, or a lie, right? People will try to lure you away from the simplicity that is in Christ. Christ is simply God's loving nature. You know him by embodying him. It is about knowing, not about lip service or anything. You see? So avoid foolish arguings, debates about the law. The law is summed up by Christ by 2 laws. Love God with all of your heart, your mind, and your soul, meaning with all of your thoughts, feelings, and being. That's 1. The second is love your neighbor as yourself. That also includes that you have to love yourself, because you can only love your neighbor if you love yourself. If you hate yourself, you can't love your neighbor. Do you see how easy this is? Now, was this a very long list? Was it difficult to comprehend? But then again, these people who are all about arguing about the law day and night, you see them in the streets talking nonsense. They are far removed from the truth. They are divorced from the truth. They have rejected the truth. They are stuck in foolish contentions and arguments, when Christ clearly summed up everything in love. Okay, 2 points. Love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's it. That fulfills the entire law. We have the 10 commandments, right? There's, for example, thou shalt not kill, right? When I love my neighbor as myself, I don't kill my neighbor, right? It also says, do not steal. If I love my neighbor as myself, I don't steal. Do you see? And we can just keep on going through the entire list of any law that is listed in the Bible. And we will see that love fulfills every single one of them. A man that is a heretic, after the first and second admonition, reject him. It clearly tells you, do not argue with them. When they refuse to hear the simplicity of Christ, which is simply God's loving nature, the simplicity of Christ is simply being loving. That is what it means to believe in his name. It's not just lip service. It is you embodying his nature. That is what it means to believe his name, his nature. Name means nature, right? God's name is love. That is his nature. Do you see? That is how you know him. That is how you see him face to face, by embodying his love. You see? So reject people who refuse to hear the truth. Talking about you have to do this law and you have to observe this law. No, I don't. I have completed the law. I have fulfilled the law simply by loving. That is what Christ called me to do, called me to be. You see, it's not about doing, it's about being. The doing is the being, you see? Knowing that he that is such is subverted. What does subverted mean? It means perverted, corrupted, turned inside out. That is what it means when you look it up in the Strong's Concordance. And sinneth. Sin is error thought. You see, they are consumed by their erroneous thinking. That is why they are caught up in stupid, foolish questions all day, in stupid strife and contentions and debates. You see, if you know the truth, if you know who you are, if you know that you are supposed to embody love, and that is your bread this day and any day, then there's no need for foolish questions, for contentions, for debates, for strife. Do you see? Being condemned of himself. You see, they have all of these condemning deaf thoughts within themselves. That's why you're not supposed to entertain them, you see, because you will turn into them. Evil communications corrupt good manners, right? Isn't that not what the scriptures tell you? If there's a room full of people, 99 wicked people in that room, and if you are a righteous man, meaning you are a right thinking or a righteous woman, and you enter into that room, and you remain in that room, you don't even have to interact with these people. Their energy, their frequency, all of these negative emotions that they have within themselves, meaning demons. D means negative. Mon comes from moon. The moon represents emotions, negative emotions, right? That is sooner or later going to corrupt you, and you don't even have to talk to these people. So stay away from these people.